Hello people, and welcome back to part 65 of Burgusia, the City Skylines build guide. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. And before we start off today's episode, a huge thank you for 10,000 subscribers. The special went up on Saturday, which was the day we hit the milestone. Yeah, crazy. 10,000 of you subscribed to the channel, so huge thank you for that. If you haven't seen the subscriber special already, it'll be linked in the description below. But yeah, thanks for the kind comments, likes and support you guys have given the channel over this last 13 months. Super appreciate it. And yeah, I won't kind of bang on about it too long. You guys have already heard it enough already. But in today's episode, we are finally going to be covering ore industry. So we do have this little ore area, which is located on kind of the eastern tip of the island where we first started. And I built this off camera just to get some ore demand in, just to kind of mess about with a few ideas. But, you know, we need to cover it in the build guide because it's obviously a pretty significant addition to the game. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So in the last episode, we worked on the kind of tourist lakeside town here, which is turning out nicely now. Probably going to remove this bridge. We had a couple of really good kind of suggestions and comments. This bridge right here doesn't look good. There was a comment that suggested that we actually move this bridge right here that kind of cuts the suburb in half and kind of make it follow the rail line and then bring them down towards here. Kind of drop them off on this side, which I think is what we're going to do. And there's also a couple of buses around here now that are ferrying people back and to from the train station over to the waterfront. So yeah, this area is still to be improved a little bit, and there's some traffic issues over by the rail station as well. It needs to be improved. Let me turn my phone off silent, it's so loud. Yeah, so some little bits and pieces to do over here still, but you know, we will do them off camera or during a live stream. So right here is where the ore industry is going to lie for the national park. So if we have a look at our natural resources kind of barometer, we've got kind of these big ore deposits. They're kind of all around this lake really. There's one right over here by the dam which we won't be using. Probably won't use this one either, just because it's so close to the lakeside town. So I don't think I want lots of kind of heavy industry right here by the water. But we do have a little deposit here and quite a lot here and on this side of the lake too. So let's go ahead and start working on it. So I always find it kind of nice to integrate. I wonder if we can actually come on a little bridge here. That might be quite nice. We kind of bridge across this little gap right here with a little kind of elevated bridge, only slightly, and then we'll kind of come back down as we approach the industry area. So I find it quite nice to integrate a lot of kind of rocks and some of the bigger kind of landscaping assets that you wouldn't otherwise kind of use when you're building the rest of your city. So we'll try and do that today as well. And there's also a couple of kind of big assets that already come with this map, like these little big caves and cliffs over here. So we'll try and factor those in as well, but we will drop in some of our own. Okay, so like any ore industry or any kind of industrial area, we need to go ahead. Let's actually trim back all this national park. We don't need this much anymore. Okay, so we have our industry area painted in. Let's go ahead and grab a small ore industry road, and what we'll do is we'll just begin to put our ore industry stuff down. So ore industry main building, of course, we'll have him sit there like this. Now the terraforming is going to be an issue in the ore industry area, just because the buildings are quite large, and you know the city's terraforming isn't overly friendly to kind of adjusting itself to what you place in. Kind of quite harsh, but we'll make it work in our favour. Alright, so we have the main building right here. This won't receive too much traffic, but I think it's nice to put it on its own little separate road. And we'll probably throw in some support in worker barracks here as well. Now I wonder if we also put these on a separate dirt road. And then we can have these. I think we'll probably do two. Two seems like a sensible option. So these are obviously going to provide kind of on-site housing for our workers. It also increases the efficiency of the area. It does, yeah, it does. So the worker barracks will increase the efficiency of your respective area. And they're actually a pretty nice looking asset. I guess you could use these kind of elsewhere in the city too if you wanted to. So they've even generated their own little cliff here as well. Maybe give them kind of like a little bit of kind of leisure down here, where we can factor in some of the national park assets like we did right there. So maybe give the workers like their own pier, so you know, if they're here working for many months at a time, they can stroll down to the beach and do a bit of fishing, maybe. Can definitely work with that idea. Okay, so we do have a maintenance building as well. And I think we'll have this along the main road. Let's kind of place it in and see what we get. So I want to keep taking a look at this kind of area as we arrive into it. What are we actually starting to look like? So again, with all this terrain generation, what we can do here, if you're finding it a little bit too harsh, is you just grab your soften terrain tool and just a couple of clicks of the mouse or the controller buttons will just take away a little bit of that harshness, and may do it back here as well. Just a touch. I do want that cliff to remain in a little bit, but not so much so that it kind of really takes away from it. So that's a little more realistic, I think. We'll have the maintenance building right there. So he's going to help maintain our ore industry area, which is fantastic news. And we're now beginning to climb this kind of hill, and we want to bear in mind where our resource is at the moment. So there's a big deposit down here. It would make sense to have something along this little coastline here. So obviously the large kind of ore mines are the most impressive builds of this kind of particular type of industry. So we want to try and factor these in where we can. Yeah, so it's given us a slope too steep there. So what we will do is we'll come back into our terraforming tools, and we're just going to right click out and push it back a little bit, right? Just until City Skylines is happy with the slope, and then we can terraform around it. There we go, so we've got one right here. So you'll see now it's going to cut really harshly into that terrain, right? Which would make sense, you know, because it is a drill, but we need to soften that out because it's almost like tearing the texture of the grass, right? So it just kind of rips down. It's very ugly, so we need to tidy this up a little bit again, just with the soften terrain tool. Okay, so that's the first kind of ore drilling. Very impressive looking asset. Super industrial looking. We'll have a couple of these around. And we may utilise some of the kind of the smaller ore mines, but really, because the medium ore mine can look quite good as well. It's got this little kind of crane and like a little sand pile, but we'll probably stay away from the smaller ones, I think. We do also have the seabed mining vessel. Now we could have this out here. Where are the ferry lines? Yeah. So I guess that isn't going to move, and it might be quite cool to see the ferries coming through here. I don't know if that's unrealistic. I don't know if kind of, you know, the engineering or kind of civil engineering authority that would look after this kind of stuff would allow kind of domestic ferries to pass through an area like this. I don't know. Maybe someone else knows in the comments. Okay, so let's hook our little, well, not little, quite enormous drill into the road network here. So I'm going to be going freeform with the dirt road. And the dirt roads do work really quite nicely with the ore industry area. And we're almost going to let the road climb up this hillside here, right? So we kind of have a little, no, it's not just a straight road down. It's already kind of adding a little more personality to this this kind of ore industry right here. Now there are a couple of little detailing things we can do as well. If we come into our fences, we can just use the ore industry fence if we want to, which is this one right here, which is kind of like a sheet metal, kind of like design decal. But the nature reserve fence would also work really nicely along this road as well. So we'll kind of have a play with each and see which we prefer towards the end of the episode. So I'm going to kind of fracture this fence. We're not going to have it running all the way up, right? It's just going to come down certain little parts. Either, you know, it's kind of been eroded away over time, or maybe there's been a car accident here. And, you know, it's not all intact anymore. So you kind of get that effect right here, yeah? And maybe we can throw in a couple of the larger rocks up here as well. So you can imagine this was all once kind of a smooth hill down into the water, but mankind has arrived and they've ripped it all out and, you know, destroyed the earth and all that kind of environmental stuff. Maybe get some of these decals up here as well. I may use kind of propping tree anarchy to fit a lot of these things in, so console players, if you're kind of struggling to place some of the rock assets in, that might be why. So just a couple of those rock decals as well, you know, it kind of brings that road to life a lot more. Gives it a lot more personality, and we'll come back with some trees as well towards the detail end of the episode. And probably a fence here as well, so this is where we'll use the ore industry fence. So if we grab ourselves a fence right here, so obviously this is a super dangerous kind of road to drive on. And you know, you wouldn't want to kind of go overboard here and fall down into the enormous drill. that would be a bad day at the office, right? Okay, so there's more ore right here, isn't there? Yeah, okay, so we got a little bit of a chunky deposit behind the cave here, so we'll begin to kind of factor him in as well. Now, how is this road going to look coming down this hill? I can't imagine it's going to be the prettiest thing in the world. Yeah, there are even a certain few places where the slope is too steep, but we'll work with it. We'll work with it for now. Okay, so it begins to kind of come up and down here. So you see, these kind of things, they're not uniform at all, and it's a challenge to get them to fit in, but I think it's a fun challenge. Okay, so what do we want here? I think we'll go for the medium ore mine. And again, we'll have him out on a dirt road. We don't really want him kind of just attached to the main road. He wants kind of his own little area. So we'll bring a dirt road out like this. Now, which way does the mine face against the road? Okay, so the back of the crane faces the front of the road. That might already be perfect. Because it kind of looks as though it's almost like mining this cave out. The ore area that we built in Frenwood for any kind of long-time viewers of the channel, that was I really enjoyed building that. Okay, so we've got another extraction site right here. It's a pretty good looking asset, I think, again as well. And then of course what we'll do is we'll just make sure we turn off our traffic lights here. Everyone wants to keep flowing through. And there as well. Fantastic news. Okay. So we're now kind of reaching the back end of the processing buildings and the storage facilities. So do we want any more? I think kind of with this, it's a 50 worker job, 80 workers and 30 workers. I don't know if maybe we have two of these in here that are kind of cutting away into this cliffside. So we may just move him over for right now. Let's just get rid of him. And then we'll come back into our softened kind of slope terrain just so we can squeeze another drill in. We do have ore here right before I do this. Yeah, we do. We're fine. Okay. And then we'll grab our freeform. And I wonder if we actually carry this dirt road on all the way around the edge of the island. So we can get another one in right here. We can do some nice things with rocks in the middle here too. Let's kind of soften this terrain out in the middle. Alright. So I don't think they're looking too bad. Obviously we'll get rocks in here as well. So I think in terms of kind of ore extraction, that'll probably be good. But I feel like we should be using the seabed mining vessel here just because it's kind of... So we can delete this road up until here. And we can squeeze it on. I don't know if that kind of feels out of place. I guess it could kind of work better out in that kind of an open ocean as opposed to kind of a lake like this, like a river. I don't know, maybe that is somewhere in the world. If anyone kind of has any experience of that, I would be interested to know if you have kind of ore mining facilities within your town, maybe on a lake somewhere. So I think with on this little hillside, we're just going to push the cliff back a touch more. And I think what we'll do is we'll actually start this little flat slope from here, and we'll cut out a little flat platform. And then what this will allow us to do, see if we jump to that road guideline there, we should be able to pop in some storage. Maybe this one would look better. What's the capacity of this one? 600,000. Wait, are these 100,000s? Oh yeah, it is 400,000, isn't it? Yeah, and 500,000, okay. So we don't actually have this one. Can we get 2 of these in? Oh, no. We can adjust it though. I think these would be a little cooler to see. Okay, so we'll break this, and then we'll throw in another one right next door. I wonder if we factor in a bridge here. How would that look? Kind of like this, and then we can have the dirt road flowing underneath it. Let's try this idea. Let's go ahead and draw out by 5, and then we'll curve out by 5 as well. So it's kind of like that. I think it would certainly give it the appearance of much heavier industry. So I'll go ahead and refine this bridge, make it a little smoother, and then we'll come back. Okay, so we've done some slight moving around of things. The kind of small, well, the medium ore mine is now facing onto the side, which I think still achieves the desired effect. And then we have a kind of another dirt road coming off here, and the bridge connects at this corner. And I'm pretty happy with it. It makes it look a lot more industrial. Looks pretty impressive from down by the water as well. And it adds a different layer of height, you know, not everything's on the floor. And maybe when they were kind of building this space together, they were like, you know, the land is just too unfriendly, we can't build on the land, we're going to have to build a bridge here. And this thing should look pretty great at night as well. So I think what we'll do now is we'll begin to move our dirt road kind of around and under this thing. So we'll carry this on right here. Now he will want a connection up into this bit of town, but again we want no traffic lights here. So that means that the large ore drills can come and store their stuff right here. And then I think we're going to carry this little dirt road around the edge of the island. I think we'll have a bunch of our processing buildings on this shore right here. So it's kind of mined on this side of the island and then processed over on this side. Well, it's not an island, but you guys get what I mean, right? Okay. So we'll just bring this all the way around. We'll break it here and then kind of begin to curve up these more natural slopes that come with the land anyway. Super. So super kind of rickety dirt road that runs around the edge. Don't think that looks too bad. Might straighten this bit up as well. Let's maybe do that now while we're here and remembering. There we go. Just so it's got kind of such a weird bend on it. Can we upgrade you? Yes, we can. Okay. So we'll bring our main road down to hook in with the dirt. And again, no traffic lights, please and thank you. Now we're going to want some processing buildings here. Alright, so looking at the industry area, we're going to be producing metal and glass. And there are obviously kind of a big version and a small version of these two types. So this area is going to be producing a fairly decent amount of ore. So we're definitely going to want to be processing quite large amounts. So we're going to go for the rotary kiln and the fiberglass, I think. And we'll have these on our industry roads. So can we come in behind here? Yes, we can. And here as well. Now, how wide is this fiberglass plant? Okay, so it's a fair old size. But what we'll do now is we're just gonna push the terraforming to kind of fit these buildings. So if we kind of right click here, we'll bring this guy out. And I kind of want a tiered system here, right? We'll soften this back bit out as well. And then just push it just so we can have the road around the edge. And this should serve as quite a nice cliffside building as well. So we'll come out the back here, come around the front, and then back in. Fantastic, and again, no traffic lights. Do some nice things with some rocks out the front here as well. Maybe just soften this out a touch. And then I wonder if we kind of put the other one on this side. See how big the, is it the rotary kiln? Yeah, so this is a chungus. This is a big boy. So I think maybe we keep this side empty. Do some nice big rock detailing along here, some of the really big assets that kind of fallen down the cliff. Okay, so we'll grab another road out like this first. Let's kind of terraform that land out again a little bit. Yeah, so we'll have to terraform the back end of this, so we'll be right back once we've done that. Okay, so we have the rotary kiln plant in right now. There's a little one-way flow system. And you can see here, kind of flow this way. The entrance to the plant is here. The kind of stuff is processed and collected, and then it comes around the back and then feeds back out onto the road as well. So we'll... I guess kind of the road network here doesn't really kind of absolutely need the one-way systems, but it'll help if it gets a little busy. And we've got some big rock detailing to do here as well, where the cliff is so sharp. But I'm quite happy with the tiered effect of that, you know. Makes it look super industrial from the coastline as well, when you kind of got all these little different heights to it. You can see the kiln plant, the fiberglass plant, and the drill in the background. So this is a little bit kind of bumpy. Kind of a fun road to drive down at speed, right? And then you've got kind of these things over here as well. Alright, so obviously we could just hook these guys into the hydroelectric dam over here to supply them with power. But I think we'll give them their own power supply. We've yet to use the solar power plant, but I think the geothermal would kind of be the most appropriate for an ore. Because it kind of fits in with the theme, right? And the asset kind of works nicely with the rest of the buildings as well. So we'll find a place for this, I think. I think probably here, if we delete this asset, yeah, okay, and then if we soften this out, should be okay again. Super duper, and then we can just hook this guy back in to this little stop as well. Wonderful. And again, one final traffic light turn off, and we should be good to go. Fantastic. Okay. So that's kind of the bulk of our ore industry structuring right now. We've got drills, we've got storage processings, we've got kind of a small mine, we've got the mining vessel, and two big fiberglass plants, well, one fiberglass and a rotary kiln as well. And they're all kind of linked in with pretty solid road infrastructure. There's little one-way systems around the factories to help them keep flowing if they get busy. And yeah, quite happy with this little bridge as well. That turned out really quite pretty. It looks like the shipyard is waiting for metal, which is perfect. Maybe able to see, I wonder if he wants to get metal over, then he has the highway connection here. Maybe even put a road connection in that links them directly to this side. Have kind of a bridge that goes over. I don't know. I kind of want to keep this isolated. I guess we'll see how long it takes them to actually get over there. We may just put in a bridge. Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. Alright, so we want to do something down here for the workers using the nature reserve stuff, right? So let's see what we can possibly have in for them. I think definitely kind of come with these little shelters. And the fishing cabins, definitely. Got a bouldering site. Yeah, kind of make them like a little campfire, some kayaks. Let's do something with that. So the nature reserve will come up to here. We're going to trim this out around the bay as well. And up to here. Okay, we'll just kind of push the nature reserve across this side as well. Amazing. So we'll bring our dirt road down. So I'm kind of thinking this will be like a little recreational area, you know. People kind of come from all over the world to work at this kind of ore site. So they're away from their families for a long time. And you know, they're going to want something to keep them happy, keep them occupied. So that's what we'll do with some of the nature reserve stuff, right? Kind of like a little private area just for the ore workers. So let's give them a fishing cabin first of all. So they can come down and fish right here. We'll give them a hunting cabin too. We'll kind of create a little bit of a square around this cabin right here. So let's move that cabin back just a little bit. There we go. And then we'll have, what else do we have to play with? What does a bouldering site look like? I don't think I've ever placed this down before. Maybe on this side of the road, or maybe not, because it's kind of ruining the terrain. I guess we could have it out there. It's kind of like a little, like maybe if they just love mining so much, they can come down and like put boulders together here. I don't know what bouldering is. I have absolutely no idea what that is. Okay. And then maybe like a little shelter here as well. And a couple of tents in case they want to sleep down on the beach maybe. Maybe have one either side of this shelter. And probably a little campfire in the middle as well, but we'll get a path through there just so we know we can hook those assets up first. Yeah, so he's hooked in now with a path, that's fine. And then a little campfire maybe, just outside here. Yeah, okay. I don't think that looks too bad. Kind of have all these little recreational ground for them. Because they have to kind of climb up the stairs, but that's fine. We can get some nice trees and kind of shelter along here from the rest of the national park. But I think that'd be quite cute. Just a nice little rec area for our ore sims. Okay, so has power synced through? No, it is not. Of course it hasn't. Use the electric roads mod. I will install it, I promise, but for right now I have just forgotten. Okay, so this thing will start to function and come into action right now. So that's going to feel, guys, like a good place to go ahead and throw in a whole bunch of detailing on this. We've got a lot to do. There's lots of empty space that need big rocks in, and doing lots of fence detailing along the dirt road like this and down by the beach as well. Yeah, so as always, we'll be right back. Right guys, that is going to do it for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, a like below is always appreciated. Equally as much if you didn't enjoy it, please feel free to leave a dislike as well. I'm fairly happy with the way that this has turned out. Lots of exposed rock and overgrowth is the key to really making these areas kind of look natural and as though they have actually just been kind of placed into a landscape and almost damaged the earth, I guess is the theme you want to go for with these ore industries. Lots of different layers of height as well, with the storage kind of slightly above the drills and the kind of the tiered factories, and lots of different layers to this thing. I really did quite like the way it turned out. But yeah, that is it from me. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.